Let's talk about some pitchers. Jordan Zimmerman, clearly not going to have a sub 1 ERA the whole season.
I was a big fan of his signing. So, it's kind of a weird guy to have. Yeah, I guess he's legit. Why would he not be legit?
Exactly. And I think that's what a lot of people should have been saying because a lot of people dismiss him.
I've always been an underrated guy, so
Yeah, and
I'm fine with.
I'm guilty of that. I traded this guy away in a keeper league for a keeper slot because I didn't have room for him and I didn't want him. Like, I'm an idiot.
Yeah, I told you not to do that. You're dumb.
Uh-huh. All right. Rick Porcello.
Not legit at all.
But why not?
Because he's. Why would he? Why should he be?
Because he looked like it was gonna. It looked like it was gonna happen 2 years ago.
I don't like him.
Why? Because he had a bad year last year.
Because he's pitched a fuck ton of major league starts and has never shown. He's had 1 year that was even average.
And now he's had a month that was above average. So
I
what
hate
are we
him.
looking at? So
No pitcher in the major leagues has gotten as much of a leash as him. He does not strike out a lot of guys historically. There's just no reason he's going to maintain this. I don't see any reason why he would. He plays in Fenway, so there's no pitcher's park advantage. He's never been a guy who had amazing stuff where you're just waiting for consistency, or he had control issues. He has okay stuff. That's it.
Okay, I'm gonna say.
I don't know. I'm gonna say no.
I'm gonna say he's gonna bounce back from a 6 ERA, but not maintain what he's doing. Is that fair? He's not done, like a lot of people thought he was. I think he can be serviceable the rest of his time with the Red Sox for the kind of contract he has. I think you can make a case that he'll be worth that contract, but it's going to be really difficult for him. There's a lot of time left. There's 4 years left on that contract.
That contract is terrible.
Yeah, but we'll see.
Really
I think he'll be, high threes ERA type of pitcher, but I think that might be serviceable for the Red Sox. I don't know. That's my take. Kenta Maeda, very good investment so far, in my mind.
Probably legit till his arm inevitably falls off because it's really unhealthy.
I'm gonna give him.
His ERA is not legit, but
I'm gonna give him the not legit just because I think major league hitters will eventually figure out.
I was actually gonna say that. I'm kind of worried what's gonna happen once
because he's not overpowering. He just throws so many different types of pitches that major league hitters have no idea what the heck's coming at them. And once they start to have more of an idea of what he uses, how he uses his pitches, I think it's gonna the ball. It's still a ball coming at you at around 90 miles an hour. So I think hitters will learn what to do with that ball, or learn when to take. I want to say this, but I do he has amazing control of 5 pitches. He has more than that, I'm sure, but it's very hard to do. So I feel like I'm kind of poo-pooing him, but I just don't think he's gonna be an ace like people think he will be.
Who thinks? Okay, people think he's gonna be. Those people are very dumb.
No, people think that he's gonna be replacement for Zach Greinke. Or he could be I don't think he'll be as good as Hisashi Iwakuma.
I think he'll be around there.
I don't think he'll be as good as prime Hisashi Iwakuma from 2 years ago.
I think he could be.
I don't think he will, personally. All right, Jose Quintana.
Yes, 100%.
He's been legit for a while, but now he's getting a little more recognition.
Always a guy who's been highly touted, who people thought would bring it together at some point.
It's happening. Yeah.
I see no reason why he can't maintain, number 2 level performance.
I think I saw that he has the lowest ERA at Rogers Center, of all time, or something like that. In a very hitter-friendly ballpark. Kudos to him. Rich Hill.
No, but this kind of, even if he didn't, this is an incredibly remarkable story.
The classic
Uh-huh.
Oakland A's pitcher.
And I can't really put my finger on how any of this is happening, but what a career resurgence, and I'm very happy for him that
I'm
he's
gonna say
is
legit.
good.
I'm gonna say to the extent that his strikeout, like totals, will put him in that category of good pitcher, but not like he's not gonna have the ERA to be considered like a true like top 30 starting pitcher, but his strikeout totals I think will like keep him relevant. That was kind of hard to keep up with, but that's my take.
I just don't even know how he's like doing this, to be quite honest.
Magic.
But it's
Vincent
cool.
Velasquez.
Uh, Not quite, but I do think he's a legitimately good pitcher. I think this is it's a bit much.
That's a bit much, Jim.
The Astros aren't stupid. They would not have thrown him into that trade if they thought he was going to be an ace.
I don't know. The Astros have been
Okay,
looking
then
pretty
they are
stupid in the last calendar year.
and they're stupid. Um,
Yeah.
No reason he can't be a very good pitcher, and he always has projected to be a very good pitcher, but I don't think he's going to be, a consistent year after year number one anytime soon.
He's not going to be number one, but I like him.
But he's
I like
quite
him a
good,
lot.
and I'm impressed by his like progression. I think has been very impressive.
Yeah, he's rose to the occasion of being a starting pitcher in Philadelphia extremely well so far. Obviously, he just looks like he belongs. Like he belongs in a starting rotation. He will pitch very well with really good strikeout stuff. That counts for something. Aaron Sanchez.
Yeah. The ERA is not legit, but in general, yeah.
The stuff,
The stuff is really legit.
the movement has always been baffling. The location is there now. Like consistently down in the zone with that two-seamer. Consistently keeps like his, I don't know if he calls it a curveball or a slider. Keeps out of the middle of the plate. Man, that is something. You know, a guy that I didn't put on this list, Noah Syndergaard, that is obviously like destroying baseball right now. Although he didn't have a quality start today, and he gave up his first home run of the year. But again, similar situation where his location is just absolutely incredible, and you know the off-speed stuff is like the stuff has always been there, but the location is just taking that next step forward.
Yeah.
Similar situations in that regard. Taiwan Walker, I think the same can be said.
Yeah,
for
exactly. It's literally the exact same.
him. Okay,
I
so
think
yes,
I think it's
resounding
a
yes.
tiny bit higher, even higher though. Like, I think he could I don't know. Yeah.
You think Walker will be above Syndergaard and like
Oh no, but maybe a little bit above
Sanchez?
Sanchez. Not Syndergaard. No, definitely
Maybe. Okay. Drew Pomeranz,
no.
but why not?
Why?
Like even when he pitched out of the pen, he
Is-
wasn't a bad pitcher.
He has really bad stuff.
But
For
apparently he has
a
good
6'5",
stuff.
240 pitcher,
He doesn't have the velocity.
he has really poor stuff.
He has a pretty good knuckle curveball. I don't know
So-
if you've seen it.
I mean, I like him. I owned him last year in fantasy. He's fine, but he's not an ace. Not to maintain a 2.4 ERA the whole year.
No, but
He's fine.
the argument his whole career
mean,
is can he be a starting pitcher? Like, do you say yes? Like,
His K through 9 is not going to be 12.68 the whole year.
okay, but do
So,
you give him
he's
do you give him a yes on can he be a starting pitcher like for his career?
That's a dumb question, obviously, yes. When was he ever not in that range?
Oh, before the season, before he was on the Padres. It was a serious question of can he be a starting pitcher?
Well, I was never someone in that who had that opinion, I guess.
Yeah.
I always thought he could be a fine 4 or 5.
All right, that's a nice projection then. Let's go with Stephen Wright on the Red Sox.
No, absolutely not. Like, I could not be more confident in anything.
Tim Wakefield 2.0.
He's worse, though, than Tim Wakefield.
They both start with a W. Did you ever think of that?
And because they both throw knuckle curves and both play on the Red Sox.
I'm just saying, like, all the signs point to Stephen Wright being able to do what he's doing.
Yeah, he ain't. He ain't. Yes.
Okay, fine. I mean, yeah, knuckleballers are not safe by any means. Can he like keep a rotation spot? Like, he's clearly shown he can be effective with a knuckleball. So I'm gonna roll with it for now. Yeah, I like knuckleballers. And he's no R.A. Dickey, so that argument's not there. All right. Matt Moore and Drew Smiley on the Rays. We'll kind of talk about both of them together. Both look really good so far. Or am I just like?
Wait, I don't know what you say that again?
Matt Moore and Drew Smiley on the Rays both look really good.
Yes.
Yeah, Matt Moore was the more interesting one just because of the coming off Tommy John surgery. It looked like the velocity was not going to be there.
Well, Smiley's coming back from really bad, serious labrum issues that he kind of luckily got out a little bit.
Yeah, and I think they both addressed the concerns
you know
very well.
They're the Rays. If a pitcher's pitching well for them, that's legit. I mean, I don't really know of any guy who pitched really well for the Rays. One year and the next year, totally regressed. I can think of.
Well, Jake Odorizzi is sort of doing that so far. I mean, he'll be. I think he'll be
for
good.
A whole season.
He was really good last season.
No, I'm saying regressed for a whole year.
Oh yeah, no, but we'll see how Jake Odorizzi does. Though.
He's a 3.12 ERA. I don't know what's so bad about that.
No, there's nothing bad about that, but I'm just saying he doesn't. I don't know. Maybe he's just not hot right now, but when he's hot, he's really good.
I don't disagree. I disagree. Why is he having a bad year at all?
No, he's not. I didn't say he is. He just I don't know. I dug myself into a hole. Can you just let me die in this hole?
I don't think it's the best example for your point.
No, he's not.
But
he 100% is not. I don't know where the hell I was going with that.
Joe, if the Rays only spend money, so it's very interesting to think about what they could be.
You turned into a robot, by the way.
What?
You turned into a robot.
I don't know what that means, but should I repeat what I said?
No, on Skype you did, so I don't know, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what the heck that was, but yeah, both of them very good. And they're on the Rays, so good signs all around. Let's talk about some of the, if it's sink or swim, these guys are sinking with rocks around their ankles right now. I'm joking, of course. A lot of these players will be fine. Justin Upton is one of the most concerning players. He will swim. He's not sinking. This guy has been one of the most consistent power hitters over the last 5 years. And even though he hasn't been Justin Upton of the Diamondbacks good, he's been Justin Upton of every other team good. I don't know what
I don't know about that. Why he wouldn't improve. I mean, yes, he's doing terrible, but Justin Upton's a very fucking good player. I mean, there aren't a lot of guys who have who've done what he's done in his career. So why he can't bounce back, I don't see any reason why not.
Yeah. Anthony Rendon, who is, I think a lot of people just expected him to bounce back and be really, really good. He was 2 years ago.
Because he was pretty bad last year, even though he was hurt at the beginning. But still, he had a pretty down year last year. So
yeah, and people kind of were just well, okay, he's just getting back from injury, he's trying to find his rhythm. He's still looking for it.
You're slowly creeping towards the nervousness with him. I'm not there yet, but I'm getting kind of closer. I mean, he was a beast 2 years ago. He's drafted high, always a top prospect. So there's no reason he can't bounce back, of course.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're kind of dangerously getting close to the time period where you kind of have to wonder, okay, is something wrong here?
I would.
What's wrong here?
Yeah, I tend to agree. The lack of power is concerning. All right, Pablo Sandoval is clearly I think it's not possible for him to float. So he's sinking, right?
I think he's dead.
I think he's drowned at the bottom of the ocean, and
Yeah,
there's
I
fish
think
feeding on his carcass.
yeah.
Um, yeah, Prince Fielder, another guy who theoretically,
He's gonna swim. He'll swim. He'll heat up.
yeah,
He's a legit. He's a true hitter. I mean, he he fucking hits. I mean,
yeah.
I believe in him.
Joey Votto.
Swim, but I don't know how many good years he has left in the tank.
Yeah, I was telling you about this earlier. I read an article that said where he said that he would rather quit baseball and leave his entire contract, like the rest of his contract, if rather than struggle as bad as he has this month. Like,
yeah, he's a bit of a strange bloke.
a bloke.
Always has been.
Yeah, I agree. All right. This one is going to be the most interesting one, I think. Carlos Gomez.
Sink. He'll never be as good as he once was. He's been declining for a while now. He had that one amazing year. Always been a very overrated player. Always has had injuries. He's 30 years old, which isn't old, but I mean that he's not. He's on the wrong side of 30. And
Yeah.
I mean, he's and see he's a bad. I mean the past. He was never that good is the issue with me, is what I'm saying. He had that stretch, 12 to 14. He was a 20-20 guy. He was getting like 35 steals and like 22 home runs. That's insanely good. But his average was never that high. He always struck out a ton. He never walked a lot. And why he... and he was really bad last year. I don't know if he just might be, he's a guy who clearly relies a lot on athleticism and he's getting up there in age. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I can't have a good, I just have that feeling. Don't you kind of?
Yeah. I like the point of his whole game is very athletically demanding, and it seems like he's not able to perform that same way. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. No, I agree with you. I think there seems to be, it's kind of like we talked about Joe Mauer earlier. He seemed to decline, very early athletically and severely. Mm-hmm. And just Gomez seems to be on that, for whatever reason, on that spiral where, he's missed a lot of games in his career. He's never played 150 games, ever.
Yeah.
So, he's played it once. I'm sorry, my bad. But, I mean, he's a 9-year veteran. Some guys just lose it.
Yeah, I have to agree there. I think it's time to start investing in Jake Marisnick a little bit.
Yeah, Jake Marisnick.
He's a good athlete. All right. We don't mean to, really shit on any of these players aside from Pablo Sandoval. Just what we see, as fans, and how we feel. There's no personal attack except for Pablo Sandoval for whatever reason. Yeah. Well, let's not personally attack a few more pitchers here that have been off to terrible starts. Ken Giles on the Astros. Not been
the worst trades in recent memory. To be completely honest.
Yeah, and I give a lot of credit to the Phillies for selling at the perfect time to the perfect team. The Phillies in the last year have really turned it around, and we talk about the Phillies a little bit. They're good this year. They're in third place behind the two beasts of the NL East, but they're over 500. They're 14-10, right? Is that their record?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've mentioned some of the pieces that I really think are coming together for them, and this is even before they're going quote unquote all in on winning. So they've done a really good job restocking that farm system, and they, especially with this Giles deal, like my goodness, they got 4 guys in return, and they gave up some other minor leaguer, so like you still profit like 3 minor league players for Ken Giles, and one of them being Vincent Velasquez, who's as good as he has been. Mark Appel, who's one of the better prospects that just hasn't had things work out yet.
He's never gonna be great.
No, but like you understand that like there's potential there. The potential there could happen. Like something could happen with him. Like he could be theoretically he could be as good an eighth inning man as Giles if you're judging based on the arm alone.
Oh, I didn't even thought of it like that.
Like if you're like Ken Giles, like you're really just trading for his arm. Like you didn't even make him your closer to start the year. Like I don't even know what the Astros' plan was with him. Like they wanted him to be like Wade Davis, I guess, but that was you can't just get a guy and be like, okay, you're gonna be Wade Davis now. Like that doesn't work.
Kind of seems like the Astros were just as surprised as everyone else that they became so good so quickly, and they weren't really prepared to go all in. So they made a lot of moves like Gomez and Giles that on paper you could defend, but
they were panic moves.
They probably weren't as well thought as they should have been.
The Carlos Gomez trade was horrendous. They traded away Josh Hader, who is he's probably been one of the most improved prospects in the last calendar year in all of baseball. And he could be a top of the rotation pitcher.
I think another big issue is when you have so many prospects when you have such an unbelievable amount of unbelievable wealth of young players, like they did going into last season, and then you see some of them break out and become so good so fast, you kind of you lose sense of what you really have, and other players who might even be better in the long run than these guys who are hot and in the majors now, they become less valuable in your mind. You're more willing to quickly get them for that instant success. And I think they just kind of lost patience. They were really committed to a tanking plan where they were budget.
You're kind of roboting out again, by the way. It's very hard to understand.
Should I repeat what I'm saying?
I don't know. I don't know if you can do anything to even fix it, or if it's just Skype being Skype.
Where did I out?
I'll go and say I agree with that. And you're gonna look at the Astros and still say that's a really good team that they built. Like they built this team, but again, at the same time, you could look at this team like, man, imagine how good they would have been if they just stuck with their plan a little bit longer, because it would have been amazing.
Yes.
Man, it's
It's kind of like the opposite a bit of what the Mets did,
Yeah, the Mets went.
The Mets did the Cespedes trade, but I guess Neil Walker was a trade.
But those were all both 1-for-1 deals.
But who did they trade for Cespedes?
Michael Fulmer, who we talked about earlier.
Okay, so maybe they're not a good example. I'm trying to think of a direct comp of a team that recently was really bad for a while. I mean,
I have a good example.
You can make the case of the Cubs.
I have a good example. That was our next player on our list, actually.
The Cubs, though, right? The Cubs didn't trade anyone. They just kept on waiting and waiting and waiting, and then signed guys. But they haven't really made any trades.
So I have an example of one that
You're the Cubs, or
no? I have an example of one who's next on our sink or swim list. Coming to mind or no? I think it's just might go down as one of the worst trades of all time.
Am I supposed to be looking at the list? I'm trying to see what.
No, you should know what the worst trade of all time is, though, right? Happened last year, or this past year.
Zach Greinke.
No, that was a signing. Shelby Miller, dude, come on.
That's what I meant.
That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Almost exactly the same thing, where the Diamondbacks were getting antsy, and they're like, "I want to win now," and they just empty out.
They're extreme. They're a whole new level.
I agree. Man, like Shelby Miller's not looked good, which is why he's on this list. I don't
Yeah,
have any positive things to say about him other than like it can't get worse, really, can it? Like
surprising. That's the bad part. He was really not good 2 years ago. He wasn't. He's been very inconsistent in his career, almost exactly season to season. No reason to think he was going to maintain what he did last year. He was never a guy that had incredible stuff. He was a top, but it wasn't because he was in the top East. Everybody first him and walk.
your microphone's kind of all over the place again.
Damn it. How about that?
I'm sorry, it's making it very hard for you to rant right now. I don't know if there's anything you can do to like. I don't know. Yeah. It's not looking good for Shelby Miller though.
The Diamondbacks are dumb.
Yes, they are dumb. They have two players on our sink or swim list. Or no, they have two players that we're very negative about that we've talked about so far today. In Segura and Miller, who they both traded for.
Am I like hearable now or no?
You're audible, yes.
I don't get why he's okay. He's 20. Just like him, just try to convince me why he was so sought after by the Diamondbacks. Okay, he's 25. That's very young for a guy who's pitched 3 full major league seasons. Yes, he was pretty damn good his rookie year. He was pretty mediocre his second year, and he was pretty damn good last year. He's pitched a lot of innings. He stayed really healthy. But
that's about it. The list ends there.
Like, he didn't get better, really, between those 3 seasons. If you kind of look at his other stats, between his rookie year and last year, if you, like, he didn't get better. That's kind of interesting.
And that's normally not a good sign.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
he was really good those 2 years. I cannot deny that. But he wasn't better, really, statistically on the peripherals, which is kind of
not good for a guy at his stage in his career.
You kind of then you kind of get worried that the scouts can kind of get on like what you need to do to hit this guy if you're kind of not adding anything to your repertoire. And
plus, he was on the Magical Cardinals that year. He was really good. So there's the baby sacrificing aspect.
He is really bad FIP. His FIPs have been about half a run higher than his ERA at each season, which is a bad sign usually for guys when you're expecting them.
Yeah. So we're not high on Shelby Miller. If you
know, can I just say one last thing?
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting. His best BB9 and K9
BB9
and WHIP were all his rookie season. That's kind of interesting, is it not?
I love that you said BB9. Yeah, no, that is
Star Wars reference. BB-8's brother.
It's the next model.
Yeah.
The newest model. Yeah. All right. I think we've worn that Shelby Miller well dry though. Adam Wainwright. I'm concerned.
I'm really worried. Which is interesting because his injury should not have affected him pitching wise. I think he tore his ACL or ruptured his Achilles, one of the two.
His Achilles, I think.
Okay, that's bad for pushing off. That's no doubt about it.
But the fastball's getting destroyed.
It's just a generally very bad injury to have. But I'm kind of surprised it's impacted him this much, considering he came back from Tommy John better than ever.
Yeah.
You would think he would be able to overcome a leg injury. Okay.
Considering he's a very off-speed reliant guy, too.
What?
He's a very off-speed reliant guy, too.
That's true. That's in location as well. He's not like an overpowering guy. It's more, movement and he's always had good speed, but that's another good point.
At the same time, part of me just says he just doesn't have a good feel of his off-speed pitches right now, and he's forced to use his fastball more, and it's getting just crushed. And if he gets a better feel for his off-speed pitches, he can go exactly back to where he was with no problems, and then we'll look stupid in a month. Like, part of me wants to say that, but part of me is really concerned. Like, I don't know who to trust, which side of myself to trust right now. So
I couldn't agree more.
I'm gonna say don't drop Adam Wainwright. Don't drop Adam Wainwright.
I think he's probably one of the biggest enigmas for how the rest of the season's gonna look like.
In fantasy, you may want to bench him, but don't drop him yet. Like, I think that's all I can say about that. Like, I really just don't know.
I mean, it's Adam fucking Wainwright. He's one of the best pitchers of his generation.
Yeah. Yeah. Luis Severino, Yankees.
He will get better, but he won't be nearly as good as he was last year.
I think there's just the classic sophomore slump. I
think everyone kind of overhyped him because he was insane when he got called up, even though his peripherals really weren't that good. And that's kind of just catching up to him a little bit. And I think he'll be fine in the long run. I think he'll be like a solid number 3.
So, interesting question. Would you rather have him or Vincent Velasquez going forward?
Oh, I mean, Vincent Velasquez, there's no doubt. I don't think
there's no doubt in your mind that you'd rather have Vincent Velasquez.
Severino
is still a strikeout.
Severino wasn't even a prospect until last year. That's noteworthy.
But Velasquez wasn't like a top prospect either.
He was still a first-round pick, though.
Yeah, I guess. I'd have to agree just based on, like, complete repertoire of, like Velasquez seems to have more control of all his pitches, while Severino is kind of like a 2-pitch guy right now. I don't know. I like Severino a lot still, though. Like, there's a lot to like with him.
He's really young. I mean, he's really young. He's playing time. He never even pitched a full season of AAA ball.
Yeah. Another guy similar is Carlos Rodon, who's supposed to be... He's on a different level. He's supposed to be really, really good, highly touted the whole way. They brought him up really early, and just... He's not been doing very well. Like, very concerning whip.
I think they brought him up too quickly. And now there's no reason to not just keep him up. I think as long as his confidence is fine, as long as he is willing, as long as mentally he doesn't mind kind of going through this kind of rough patch before he truly starts to excel.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's fine.
And it's not hurting the White Sox. Like, they're still amazing this year.
But it's a bit disappointing. There's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah. Chris Archer on the Rays. We were talking about Rays. Speaking of Rays pitchers who sort of look like they're declining.
I'm not worried.
I'm not worried, but the slider really has not been what it was last year. It's like the slider's the pitch that's getting hit very hard. I don't know if have you watched any of his games? Like,
no.
He doesn't look the same. Like, he dominated last year. Like, every time, even the games that he gave up runs, he just dominated everybody and then, like, made, like, one mistake a game. But, like, even now, it looks like he's, like, kind of laboring a little bit. And it might just be, like, part of the cycles of, like maybe he just, to start off the year, his arm was not in a good place. Like, pitcher's arm comfortable status fluctuates a lot. Like, that could be just the case of...
He could be injured.
He could just have, like, a little bit of fatigue. Like, that happens to pitchers.
I mean, he could be injured, too, though.
I don't think he's injured, because he's still... Like, the velocity's still there. Like, the slider is still good, but he hasn't been locating it well. I think he just doesn't have the feel for it right now.
David Price is doing quite awful, too, and no one seems to be worried about him.
Who is?
David Price.
He's striking out a ton of batters, though.
Is Archer not striking anyone out?
He is. That's kind of fair. David Price has been striking out, like...
Dave Archer that game struck out, like, 12 guys and gave up, like, 6 runs or something like that.
I don't know. I don't know if that happened. I can't remember exactly. He had a 14 strikeout game recently, though.
That's the only thing I'm thinking of.
Oh, I don't think he gave up 6. He might have given up 4 or something.
Yeah, it was like 4. But it was like only like 6 innings.
Yeah, that's weird. Not concerned, though. Zach Greinke.
I am very concerned.
Why, though? Why? He was so good last year.
Why am I concerned, or why is he so bad?
Either way. Pick one.
I'm concerned because I've never been a fan of him mentally, and it wouldn't surprise me that he got his money and he kind of lost his drive. And I think a really important thing for professional athletes that no one ever talks about is the guys who truly excel have an extra bit of drive to work extra hard that no one else in the world has. And
okay, I'm gonna say that I disagree. I think Zach Greinke is one of the more proud pitchers out there that cares more about his craft than anybody at this point in his career. and I don't think it's the money that's affecting him. If anything, it's the Diamondbacks that's affecting him more. And
That's
I'm
his-
just gonna say this,
That's his fault.
I'm just gonna say this right now. Trevor Story can see everything coming out of Zach Greinke's hand, and he has owned him in his very short career so far. And having Zach Greinke opened his career getting destroyed by this rookie that just came into the league mashing, probably got into his head a little bit, probably started to press a little bit, starts giving up runs here and there, and then, it only takes a couple bad outings in April to have an ERA above 5.
What if he's
been really good aside from like a few the blips on the radar that he's had. Like he gave up a couple runs yesterday, but still went like 7 innings, struck out 8. Like he still had outings like that where he's still like good.
He's no young guy. He might just be on a serious decline. I don't see why it's not.
I don't know if it's a serious decline even. I think it's just not a sub 2 ERA type pitcher anymore, but I think he's still really good. I think he's gonna figure stuff out going forward. Like I think we too quickly dismiss exactly how good he was last year. He was really good. And he was really good at Chase Field for the Dodgers last year. So I think he'll figure something out. I think that's my take.
That's fair.
Alright, Dallas Keuchel cannot pitch on the road.
Okay, this is interesting. See, it's kind of like, what happens when a guy who was a no-name kind of is it gets really, really good and then struggles again. I feel like you have a lot less leeway with that kind of guy to expect him to return to his peak levels. I really don't know. You're probably going to disagree with me because I'm very pessimistic, and you're very optimistic usually.
Yes.
But I think there's a legitimate chance that last year was a fluke in some way. I think he can still be very good, but I think last year's level could be a fluke.
Okay, home road splits like he has are the most flukish thing I've ever seen.
You're not a good pitcher then if you have insane home.
No, and I think that's the argument now. And his road numbers really were not good last year. If you
they were not good at all.
Like his home numbers last year would have won the Cy Young in a landslide, and his road numbers would have been like, who is this guy? But like
they were very bad.
Balanced, they were good enough for him to win it. But like,
this is not
new. This is not a new thing that he gets hit on the road.
How can you pitch so well in Minute Maid Park though?
I know, it's hilarious.
Like, why is that?
It is not a pitcher's park at all. He's a soft-throwing lefty that with one of the shortest porches in left field at Minute Maid.
I don't really understand why
that's comfort thing. It's gotta be a comfort thing. 100%.
That's bad though. Like that's not a good sign if you need if that's how you mentally work as an ace. That's not ideal.
I'm gonna say the level of concern is not that high for me though. Like he gets hit in road games, sure, but he's not. Doesn't mean he's gonna give up 7 earned runs every road game. Like that just doesn't happen. He's still a good pitcher. Like he's still.
But you have to admit, like last year might just be his best career year, right?
Oh, it might, and that's fine. But like even if, like, he's still a good pitcher. Like the stuff is like he has really good ground ball stuff, and sometimes it just doesn't work out the way he wants. But like. He's a gamer too. Like, remember the game he threw last year in Yankee Stadium in the wild card game? Like, he went out there and just did his got to business, did his job. Like, he's that kind of guy in terms of mentality. But like, he's gonna run into those outings on the road every now and then. You just have to expect that at this point. But he's still a good pitcher, sure. Like, do you still want to own him? Absolutely, 100%. So, yeah. I think that's a good point to stop though for now. We broke down a ton of players on this podcast. I have no idea exactly how long this is. It was a good one-on-one session. So we'll go ahead and run through our weekly fantasy draft stuff. I think we have all our players in mind. Farbode obviously is not here, but he texted us.
You want to
players
just kind of say one team that we think so far is just noteworthy, bad or good.
Yeah.
And just quickly, we don't have to go through each play or whatever.
I know which team you're going to talk about. Go for it.
Just kind of quickly just say one team that we kind of are surprised how they're doing.
Yes.
Oh,
I thought you were going to
go. Okay. I mean, I'm going to say the Yankees' offense was top 5 last year and is the worst this year. It's pretty interesting. There's really no injuries that explain it. And yes, all the guys are 1 year older, but still, I mean, it's the horrendousness is pretty shocking to me. And then just quickly, the Mariners are doing a lot better than expected.
I'm going to throw out the Colorado Rockies, who are 500 right now, have horrendous pitching staff, but have one
It's
of
so
the
bad.
they have one of the best hitters in all of Major League Baseball. They have one of the best rookies in all of Major League Baseball, who is second in home runs this year. They have one of the sweetest swinging left-handers in all of baseball. They have a few pretty good hit for average type guys in that lineup. There's a formula for success in there somewhere, and it's really close to the one that I was predicting in terms of build the best offense possible to just destroy your opponents. And it might work if Nolan Arenado is as legit as we think it is, as he has been so far. Is that fair? Like, Nolan Arenado is scary good.
Do you think he's kind of underrated in a weird way?
Yes. Do you know where MLB Network, the MLB Network shredder had him listed at third base?
Where?
He was the number 5 third baseman on their list, I think. He might have been outside the top 5 actually. He might have been number 6.
That's illegal.
Yeah. So that's going to change.
Who,
As of right now, he's the top third baseman for me over Manny Machado.
who is 3?
Over Josh Donaldson, over Chris Bryant. In my mind, he's over all of those guys. Do you agree?
I would agree, but I don't think it's. I think it's close I think it's close, but I would agree he's the best.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's like obvious. But I would have to say.
I think
he's a scary. You know what he kind of is. I mean, him and Goldschmidt are two fascinating careers. I just want to say. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like two
They're
guys.
self-made baseball players. Like.
There's no reason they should be as good as they are on such unfortunately managed teams, and yet
They just freaking rake.
they just destroy on both ends of the game.
Yep. Like, it's amazing. You're probably going to see at least 2 MVP candidates not in the playoffs again this year in that league. So, there you go. So let's get to the weekly fantasy stuff, though. So it's going to be a little different. So we'll list for Bode's team first. He had the first pick anyway, so we just let him pick all of them first. He is going with Johnny Cueto, Victor Martinez, and Nolan Arenado. Speak of the devil. All right. I think you have the first pick between the two of us. So who are you taking?
I'm taking. Wait, sorry, my bad. I should write it down. Right, that's what you're gonna tell me.
I'm thinking it really hard right now. I can't
Wait,
keep telling you.
Wait, he took Altuve?
No.
Oh, I'm gonna take Altuve.
What? How did you hear the word Altuve anywhere in the last 10 minutes of conversation or something? Are you just really paranoid? I'm taking Dallas Keuchel.
That's ironic.
2 home starts. It's me again.
Or you 2.
I'll take Jose Bautista.
Do I go?
Yeah.
I'll take Quintana.
Quintana. All right. And you go again.
Would you have anything you want to say while I look?
Not particularly. I like the Altuve pick. He was actually on my watch list for this week. I would have definitely taken him, but you know
he's having a really weird year.
Weird year?
A weird year is Cano.
Yeah, that is a weird year. He's another hot guy that's but he's Robinson Cano. He does this every year. He's just.
I will take the Confortos.
The Conforto?
Yeah, he's doing quite well.
Quite well indeed.
I would say.
All right, I will take the Piscotty. Of the Steven variety. So for me, it's Dallas Keuchel, Steven Piscotty, Jose Bautista. For you, it's Jose Quintana, Jose Altuve, Michael Conforto.
I should have went for all of the Jose.
Oh, you should have got. Do you want to trade Bautista for Conforto? I'll do it. Would you do it or no?
Let me look at how he's doing lately. Which he doesn't seem to be doing that well lately.
Oh, I mean, he homered yesterday, but I like the matchup this week. I like that he's playing the Rangers at home this week. I think he's gonna be fired up for that. I mentioned that to you earlier. That's fun.
But he's playing the Dodgers.
Um,
I'm
but the Dodgers after Kershaw.
gonna have to pass. Conforto is playing
I don't.
at home in San Diego, and they both have terrible pitching staffs.
Okay.
And
Could have had the Jose sweep, but it's fine.
He's grossly on fire.
Almost had the Jose sweep. Maybe
God,
next
he
time.
took that that first place.
Yeah, I know. You had Clayton Kershaw this last week, and he just threw a 14 strikeout shutout. So
He's a pretty solid pitcher.
that's a solid outing.
I heard he was good, and I just wanted to see it for myself.
Yeah,
know?
I just want to see what he can do. All right. That's enough. We have been rambling on for plenty long.
It was a good time.
I know. I think we still need to like break this up into smaller sections. Next time. I keep saying that next time we'll break it into smaller sections, but it just hasn't happened yet. But thank you everybody for joining us as always. There's plenty of ways to leave us feedback. We appreciate all of it. You can check out our Twitter and tweet us at WPB_podcast. We do a bunch of stuff there. Check out our website. The link for that will be down below as well. It's got all the podcasts, some articles, and cool things like that. You can email us at warandpeacebaseball@gmail.com too.
Please.
What's that?
So please email us.
Yes, please. We are desperate. And I realized I don't actually check that email very often, and I did the other day. So I would like to have emails. I promise I will check if there are emails coming in. And there's some other links and stuff below as well for like the weekly fantasy stuff. And I think we still have the MLB style survey going that we started a couple months ago. So if you're in the mood for rating MLB style related things, that's there too. One more time, thanks again. Have a good day. As always, Rudy.
Peace.
With conviction this time.